Depression is a widespread problem, but often the main issue isn't even the mood decline, but it's asthenia. As a term, asthenia isn't commonly used in the US, so let me give you a brief lowdown. When we say asthenia, we mean weakness, lethargy, exhaustion, chronic fatigue, as well as extremely intense swings between nervous system activation and shutdown. Well, let me paint you a picture. Imagine an old lady coming out of the store. She spots a tiny kitten sitting by the door. She gets choked up right away. "Oh, what a sweet little thing," she says, tearing up from pure tenderness. Then it hits her. The poor kitten is all alone, probably starving, and the sadness wells up. She starts crying again. Next, she wants to feed him, but realizes she doesn't have anything on her. That sets off another round of tears. Someone nearby notices and steps in to help, offering to buy a sausage or a hot dog for the kitten. That kind gesture makes her cry again. "You're such kind people," she says, overwhelmed. And just as the kitten starts eating, she breaks down one more time. "Look how hungry he was." All of this happens in the span of a single minute. Normally, when a person is brought to tears by some event, whether positive or negative, they need time to calm down for their nervous system to regain balance. But in this situation, everything happens literally within seconds. We're talking about an extremely rapid spike in nervous system activity that hits the ceiling, followed by equally rapid exhaustion, not even within a minute, but sometimes just tens of seconds. My name is Dr. Mikhail Tutushkin. I'm a psychiatrist who's been working in this field for more than 25 years, and I'm the creator and director of the Med Science Project, which has been helping people with mental disorders for more than 15 years as well. In this video, we're talking about asthenia or asthenic syndrome, and it's quite common in depression. Naturally, antidepressants are prescribed for this, and the best thing you can do in this condition is go and see the doctor. But if that's not the option, nootropic medications can also be useful here. I must note that I wouldn't start with piracetam specifically. For asthenia, it's not the best choice, at least initially, because it causes activation. This activation forces the body to rev up even more, depleting the last reserves that are essentially already gone. So in this case, picamilon and phenibut, which we discussed in our other video, might be more beneficial, along with a medication that some call a nootropic, though it's more accurate to call it a cerebroprotector. I'm talking about cerebrolysin. Cerebrolysin, unlike phenibut and picamilon, isn't available in tablet form. It's exclusively injectable. And from what the manufacturer representatives told us, they recommend using it specifically for intravenous infusions. I personally conducted research on this medication specifically for asthenic depression. Our protocol was as follows. We administered intravenous infusions of 5 milliliters of cerebrolysin in 200 milliliters of saline, that's 0.9% sodium chloride solution, 5 times a week for an entire month. On weekends, Saturday and Sunday, patients got a break from the treatment, so to speak. And I must mention that this was conducted as a monotherapy. In other words, antidepressant therapy wasn't used. We saw improvements of varying degrees in approximately 78% of cases. Now, that's a very high success rate for a medication with not yet fully proven efficacy. A remarkably high rate. This research was conducted in the late 90s to early 2000s at our medical facility. After that, I kept in touch with many patients who received various treatments from different doctors. And I often heard that people who received courses of cerebrolysin experienced a very clear anti-asthenic effect. Specifically, this amplitude of emotional swings decreased, the level of painful nervous system hypersensitivity decreased, and their mental responses to various events became much more stable. I must say that this one's definitely something to think about. Of course, preferably not as a monotherapy, you know? Well, and this really isn't just my opinion. There are established standards for treating psycho-emotional disorders. Cerebrolysin monotherapy isn't prescribed in these cases, but if pronounced asthenia is part of the depressive syndrome we've discussed, especially cerebral asthenia, meaning asthenia caused by organic brain damage, then cerebrolysin use can certainly be on the table as part of combination therapy. You can find additional information via the links in this video's description. Of course, prescribing cerebrolysin for treating asthenic syndrome, whether in depressive syndrome or depressive disorder, is always your doctor's job. This is especially true when, as I mentioned, we're considering cerebrolysin for organic brain damage. So what exactly do we mean by brain damage? This could be impaired brain blood supply, it could be consequences of a traumatic brain injury, or consequences of toxic damage from various psychoactive substances, or poisoning from, let's say, lead or manganese exposure. Naturally, such prescriptions should be made by a doctor, and more so it better be a neurologist rather than a psychiatrist, because all these conditions, organic brain damage, damage to the actual brain tissue and structure, fall more under neurology than psychiatry. It's a borderline zone, of course, but nevertheless, a consultation with a neurologist is essential in these cases. If you're interested in more, so to say, gentle medications that act relatively quickly and don't burden the gastrointestinal system because they're administered intranasally, then look at Celllank and Cmax. We've got separate videos on these, so check them out. They might be super helpful for you.